Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you're watching, even good morning, depending on where you're watching. It is Michael Schneider with Mike Dub today. Got lots of stuff to talk about NFL-wise. Mainly, we do have actually a great game going on tonight, men's basketball. Kentucky-Louisville, the classic rivalry is renewed. Not too much of a basketball guy myself, currently getting, into the beginnings of, getting to know more about the sport and how to cover it here on the show. Obviously, I know last night the Heat had a overtime thriller against the Cavs. I know there was a dunk, like buzzer beater dunk, to have the Heat prevail over the Cavaliers. We're going to cover it all here. Obviously, mainly NFL, like I said before. But welcome back. Tuesday, November 11th. It is. First, let's talk about Veterans Day. And happy Veterans Day. Obviously, we know, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now. And nobody would be able to do what they're doing right now if it wasn't for our great veterans. Obviously, the best branch out there is the Coast Guard. Close second is the Air Force. Air Force is one of the coolest branches. We're not going to go too much in detail about that. But regardless, happy Veterans Day to all those who are who served the country. Obviously, one of the many holidays to celebrate our armed forces. I know that I talked about it on the show yesterday. I was driving yesterday, and there was some guys with some dogs walking on the side of the highway with a Marine Corps flag. A lot of people were honking at them. It was a great sign of patriotism. A lot more that we need in this country. Obviously, it's a great country. Great sports, and that's where we're going to start off. Now, NFL Week number 10 started off with a lackluster Thursday night performance, and it ended with a seemingly lackluster Monday night performance. Just two defensive clashes here. Obviously, we started off Raiders, Broncos. Sean Payton, the guys. Obviously, Sean Payton's known to be a offensive guru, but Max Crosby, and that Raiders defense obviously saying, hell no, we're going to show you otherwise. Only hold the Broncos to 10 points, but that's all the Broncos need to win there in Denver. They beat the Raiders 10-7. Great division win for the Broncos. Obviously, in such a highly contested conference such as the AFC West with the Chiefs and the Chargers. Obviously, the Raiders are well out of playoff contention or well out of winning the AFC West. But Geno Smith, man, what was Geno Smith's prime like? Obviously, ask Seahawks fans more of that question. He was still a little. It's really interesting. It was a topic that I was thinking about yesterday when I was talking about college football. But it's really interesting to see how these quarterbacks are kind of, how much. Really, like the second chance option here in the NFL for quarterbacks is really paid out. Obviously, we talk about people like Daniel Jones. We talk about, like we said, Geno Smith. Obviously, Geno Smith drafted by the Jets, that's where he predominantly played most of his career in New York. Ends up going to Seattle, does wonders there. And now he's on the Raiders. Obviously, the narrative's kind of switched back around to, the irrelevant. I wouldn't say irrelevant. Obviously, a great quarterback. Well, solid quarterback, great guy. Unfortunate that he's kind of put in the scene where he is there. But realistically, he has Ashton Jeanty. He has Brock Bowers. He did have Jacoby Myers until he was traded to Jacksonville. But, obviously Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold still. Sam Darnold, obviously, he was drafted by the Jets. Obviously, we saw him go to the Panthers, have his little, obviously, he had his little thing there. He had just kind of bouncing around teams. Obviously, the Vikings last year. Now he is in Seattle. Great for Sam Darnold. Still playing great ball. Seahawks not talked about enough. They're playing tremendously. I know that they had a huge blowout against the Cardinals, which obviously weirdly the Cardinals with Jacoby Brissett have been looking a lot better. Obviously, Kyler Murray is still injured. I don't know what the hell's going on in my room right now. There's a lot of noises. But yeah, we started off the Sunday slates. Oh, man. Started off the Sunday slate rough, obviously. A lot of people know me. I am a unfortunate Falcons fan. They went to Berlin to face off against Daniel Jones, like we were just mentioning, and the Colts. Jonathan Taylor just thrashed our defense. Realistically, our defense didn't even play bad. Playing a generational player, I'd say, Jonathan Taylor, and and having him run for 240, 50 yards, or just 240, 50 all-purpose yards, and only have him put up 31 points, that's great. I mean, at least for the Falcons' defense, it's been good. I mean, it's really just been their pass rush. Run defense, I mean, definitely a little non-existent in this game. A little is an understatement, that's for sure. But I say at the end of the day here, I mean, we really still could have won this game. And, I mean, I'd say after a generational performance like that from Jonathan Taylor, I mean, like, they really just deserved that win. Obviously, they were the better team there in Dublin. The Atlanta Falcons dropped to 3-6. So, yeah, our season's over. If you didn't know it from last week or the week before that, or when we got blown up by the Dolphins, obviously our season's over. We go on to play the Panthers, the Saints, and the Jets. Then I believe we play the Seahawks or the Rams. One of the two. We play both of them either, regardless at the end of the season. So realistically, looking at an 8-loss season. Obviously, we play the Bucs again, so hopefully that won't become a 9-loss season. But Panthers, Saints, and Jets. I want to say the Falcons are going to win all these, or win this go on a 3-game win streak, go 6-6, potentially put themselves back in the playoff conversation. But Zach Robinson, it's been a few days since the game happened, or a couple days. Zach Robinson's still the offensive coordinator. Raheem Morris is still the coach. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with Jeff Ulbrich. He's doing a great job defensively on that side of the ball with his defense, despite even having a little bit of injuries. Obviously, O-line depth is an issue. I mean, you can only blame so much on Michael Penix at the quarterback position. Obviously, there were some throws he could have connected on, but I mean, realistically, it's not like, it could have been worse. And we've seen that over the past few years, that it has been worse. Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke. Just ever since Matt Ryan, it's been a spiral, and now we have this hope of Michael Penix, and due to the offensive coordinator, we are not able to unlock this offense to the full of their potential. Obviously, Bijan Robinson's been on a kind of, I wouldn't say he's been trending downwards, but he's been kind of at this median spot. Still putting up some stats, but not anything compared to what he used to be. He was in the conversation with Jonathan Taylor. He was in the conversation with Devon Achane. Obviously, I'd say he's still better running back than Devon Achane, but Devon Achane's been playing, amazing, obviously. The Dolphins just thrashed the Bills, so, what's going on in Miami now? The narrative switched there now. Everyone was clowning Tua and Mike McDaniels, and everyone was like, okay, we're kind of getting to that point where we think we might need to fire Mike McDaniels. But now they're kind of like, okay, what's going on? So, obviously, it's just kind of like they're flipping the switch there. The Dolphins now, I think, have 4 wins, which are better than the Falcons in the 3 wins. So, to the Atlanta Falcons organization and the rest of to their organization first, get your shit straight, please. It's literally... I was gonna make an analogy. Before I got on the air, but I can't remember what it was. It was about the Falcons being awful. But despite that, yeah, to the fans, we just keep thugging it out, I guess, as some may say. Giants, Bears. I know the Giants were up huge. Jackson Dart went out with an injury. I don't believe it was anything too serious. Nothing compared to obviously the heartbreaking loss of Cam Scatterbo. Obviously they. Without Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson in for the game. Obviously Russell Wilson comes into the game. Bears are able to surge back. Caleb Williams now 6-3, and now the NFC North is kind of, up for grabs. Now we're looking at it, we got, realistically, the NFC North is looking like one of the best divisions in college, or in NFL right now. Obviously, what was it? What would I say would be better than that? The West, the East? I'd say the West. The West really kind of has that up for grabs, and obviously the West in the NFC and the AFC, you just look at their standings, but the North is kind of, really up for grabs, and the Vikings are still kind of making somewhat noise. I know that I believe they got that win last week. Obviously, they lost to Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, this week, so now the Ravens are back in it. The AFC North, Obviously, I know the Steelers are kind of sitting somewhat comfortably at the top, and now you got an interesting team rising back up from the ashes. Bills, Dolphins, we talked about that. I mean, Bills are just kind of, they're kind of going through some stuff right now. I believe they'll get it figured out, obviously, I think this game was more of a kind of a trap game, obviously coming off the big dub against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs last weekend. But despite that, can't lose games like this. I believe that they beat the Dolphins earlier in the season, actually. We talked about Ravens, Vikings. Just kind of edged out the game there. Lamar Jackson, he's playing good. He's playing good ball. Obviously, hoping to lead his team to the playoffs after an abysmal start in Baltimore. Jets, Browns. I ain't looked too much into this game, but it looked like an actually pretty good game for two teams that are seemingly struggling, horrible teams. Both 2-7 now. I know that the Jets had one win before this. The Browns had two. So it's not really that much better. I believe this game was actually decided or like a walk-off by a return touchdown in like late in the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look here. Never mind. That was more towards it. Yeah, it was the start of the fourth quarter. Oh no, that was earlier on in the game. Apologies, that was first quarter. But I mean, regardless, they were. Yeah, no, it was a clash there in New York, or in New Jersey, or wherever the hell MetLife Stadium is really located. Oh wow, okay. So and then we have Patriots Buccaneers. That was a clash. I know that the Patriots. They're looking like the best team in the league right now. Playing great against great comp. Drake May, his fan base is just growing. Even though he threw 16 for 31, 270 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Baker Mayfield throws 28. He completes 28 passes on 43. 273 yards, 3 touchdowns. Despite that, he loses to the Patriots in Tampa. Obviously, the Patriots coming off a great win against the Atlanta Falcons. It's just... What more can you do when you're Baker Mayfield? Obviously the Bucs will be fine despite dropping to 6-3. Pretty much, kind of. I would say locked in for the NFC South, but the Panthers are surging. Obviously they dropped to 5-5 as they lose to the Saints in Carolina, in Charlotte. And Tyler Show, damn. They should have given him the call earlier. He looked pretty good. Beats the Panthers 17-7 there. And Tyler Show, a rookie that's surging. Obviously, for Atlanta Falcons fans, we haven't even played the Saints once. We played them twice. And if Tyler Show plays in both of those games, Falcons will probably get swept by the Saints this year. We are still 0-2 in conference play, by the way. Hopefully not. If we go to 0-3 in conference play after this weekend, I would be shocked if Raheem Morris still has a job by Monday, or Zach Robinson in that matter. Jeff Ulbrich, obviously, the day that Jeff Ulbrich is a part of this, firing talk in Atlanta is the day that the Falcons are truly over. The entire franchise just needs to rebuild. But, we're literally on the cusp of just, getting over that hump, and we just are declining again. So that is unfortunate. Obviously, we need a better coordinator. Raheem Morris, I don't care if he's your buddy from LA. Get him the shit out of Atlanta. Shoot him out in a cannon. Shoot him out I don't even know, dude. Just get him as far away from Atlanta. Realistically, just drop him to a quarterback coach. Get a better... that's what he was in LA, and he's a fucking horrible offensive coordinator. All right, we're not going to talk about that. All right, Jaguars, Texans, that was a bash. That was a... God dang, that was a clash in Houston. Obviously, Davis Mills overcomes the 19-point deficit to stun the Jaguars. Crazy win there in Houston. They go up to 4-5. Jags drop to 5-4. So now the AFC South... there's no real competition for the AFC South. Colts have that shit in a headlock. Cardinals, Seahawks, we talked about that. I mean, Sam Darnold and the guys are going insane. I mean, realistically, how can't he? I mean, he only threw 12. He only completed 12 or 10 passes through 178 yards with a touchdown and interception. So that just kind of tells you what's going on. Run game was stellar there. Charbonnet, 83 yards on 14 carries for a touchdown. And, damn. How about those Seahawks? I know that they play the Falcons in a few weeks, and we are now. I mean, we could play good in that game. Falcons are really an unpredictable team when it comes down to it. Rams, 49ers. That one happened in Santa Clara, obviously home of the Super Bowl this upcoming year. Rams completely destroy the 49ers like expected. Rams are just keep going, and we still play them. Obviously, we lost to the 49ers earlier in the season. And then we have a scoregami kind of, if you know what a scoregami is, it's kind of, it's kind of what it, search it up. I don't know the exact definition. We kind of have a parallel here. Lions Commanders ended in a 44-22 bash. Obviously we had the Cardinals and Seahawks ending the same result. And, man. Nothing more to say about that game. Lions are back. Hopefully I know they're tied with I believe that they're tied for first in the NFC North with the Bears and not really the Packers, because the Packers are third due to having the tie. Still thought that was stupid. Tying in the NFL is pretty dumb. But Steelers Chargers ended Sunday's slate of games on Sunday nights in LA. Obviously 25-10 was the score there. The Chargers win. Despite that, I remember seeing a post, the PFF rankings for all of LA's or the Chargers offensive linemen being damn near last in the league. Most if not all the guys were pretty much dead last in the league when it came to the offensive line there in LA. And that was just a funny thing. That was a funny thing to look at. And the fact that the Chargers are still 7-3. I mean, realistically, dude, Zach Robinson, Raheem Morris, take notes. I'm going to keep referencing them because I just genuinely cannot deal with this team anymore. The Chargers literally have the worst offensive line in the league. It has been known that. The Chargers have the worst offensive line in the league. That is a given. The Bengals have the worst defense in the league. That is also a given. And the Atlanta Falcons will never be good. That is also a given. But they're still performing. They're still 7-3 despite having the worst offensive line in the league. The Falcons have a banged up and horrible depth, sustained offensive line, and they're 3-6. Pretty much a flip-flop schedule, or a flip-flop record, as I would say. And Aaron Rodgers is not beating the Unk allegations. I know that he had a fumble safety in the back of the end zone. Saw a clip on that. That really just, that Chargers defense, man. Let me tell you, does wonders. Obviously, we ended off Monday Night Football last night with a snooze fest in Green Bay. 10-7. The score there, I think the lone touchdown was Devontae Smith, the receiving touchdown. Just want to make sure, yes, a 36-yard pass from Jalen Hurts there. Well, I'm an idiot. There was not a lone touchdown. Yeah, Josh Jacobs had a rush later in the game. Obviously, just defensive clash there. Two very, very high talented defenses there in Green Bay. Obviously, the Eagles getting Jalen Phillips in a trade this past week before the deadline. Packers known for having a great defense, and both of these defenses have a common theme here, which is having a surplus of Georgia players. Obviously, people like Devonta Wyatt, Nolan Smith, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Carter. I'm probably missing people. Kelly Ringo. I know Kelly Ringo had an interesting flag against the Eagles for it was like a holding slingshot. He was trying to. What the announcers were saying was trying to slingshot his way towards the returner. I know he on I believe it was a punt return. Yeah, that's interesting. I know that's been a thing that's been going on apparently the past few weeks. But despite that, okay, so the bye week teams, Chiefs, Titans, Cowboys, Bengals, you're spared for the most part of seeing your team lose this week. Or, if you're a Chiefs fan, you're kind of disappointed because your team didn't win this week and they're coming off a loss. That's the worst thing. Coming off a loss and going into the bye week. I believe that's what the Falcons do every single season. So, you kind of, see, the difference for Falcons fans is that, it's usually bye weeks are, a win for the team because you don't have to see the team get shit on. So, obviously, Jets coming off a good win against the Browns. They go into Foxborough this Thursday against an 11.5 point differential. Patriots are favored by 11.5 points. They're in Foxborough. Holy crap. Choose against the spread if you want. Say it's a trap game if you want. Drake May is hot. Patriots are hot. Yeah. And Patriots are actually debuting their new uniforms, their rival uniforms, which are one of the best that I've seen. Obviously, I'd say that the Cardinals are kind of up there for, that number one spot. I'd say a lot of people don't think so, but, it's just people without taste. So, kind of look at the slate. Obviously, Dolphins coming off a harsh loss to the Lions in their home turf. They go into Madrid to play the Miami Dolphins that are coming off an impressive win against the Bills. That is going to be 9:30 a.m. Early Sunday. You're getting home from church, or if you're on church that early in the morning, wow. You're getting home from your errands and whatnot. You got the 1 p.m. games. Choose to watch the Dolphins Commanders game if you want. Personally, I will not be waking up for that game because that's probably going to be, who knows, man. 2, 3, and 7 teams. One coming off a great blowout win against one of the top teams in the league, and another coming off a blowout loss against one of the top teams in the league. So, different narratives, kind of somewhat parallel narratives, different type of story there in Madrid in Spain. And then we start off, let's look at this. So, Falcons are favored by 3.5 points in Atlanta against the Panthers. Another divisional game for the Falcons. They need to win out the division. Their divisional games, they won't even have a chance to shoot at Tampa Bay or anyone else in the league. I know Panthers are 5-5, currently second in the NFC South. And we're going to keep in the NFC South. Buccaneers are just going through the ringer. They had the Patriots last week. They played the Bills in Buffalo this week. Obviously, the Bills are pissed off. The Buccaneers are pissed off. Buccaneers are pissed off as well. Buffalo's actually favored by 5.5 points there in Buffalo. And yeah, that's going to be a good game. Keep an eye out for that game, potential game of the week. Obviously, we got two great quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen, going at it. Texans, Titans, snooze fest. Don't got to worry too much about that one. Houston's favored by 7.5 points. Rightfully so. Titans are 1-8. Bears, Vikings. This could be an actually pretty interesting game. Bears are 6-3. Vikings 4-5. Obviously, the Vikings coming off that heartbreaking loss in Baltimore against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. They go back home this weekend to play the Bears that just had a good comeback win against the Giants. And speak of the devil, we have the Giants in New York against the Packers. They come into town. Packers are favored by 7.5 points. And hopefully Jordan Love can get the guys back in. Hopefully he can get his offense back working, because I know defense, you don't got to worry about them. We're going to keep up with what is happening with Jackson Dart, the rookie quarterback there. Hopefully it's not too much of a lingering injury that I know he went out in the Bears game against. Hopefully that doesn't pose too much of a threat. I didn't check on the severity of that injury, but I'm sure that the news will come out, or has already came out. Bengals, Steelers. Bengals come off a bye week to play the Steelers that just lost the Chargers in what I call 15 points of blowout, in a blowout fashion. Bengals come off a bye week. Hopefully the defense can respond. I know that we had the great Joe Flacco versus Aaron Rodgers Thursday night football game a few weeks ago. Got a rematch here. This time it is in Pittsburgh. So the Bengals are coming off a bye week. A bye week late in the season, and I know Joe Burrow is Actually, I believe it was yesterday that it came out that Joe Burrow is practicing. I believe he's limited, though. Obviously, he went down with turf toe earlier on in the season. They can get him back, and they can keep winning a few games. The Bengals might still have a shot at the playoffs, hopefully. I mean, it really just comes down to that defense, man. I mean, Joe Flacco's still doing great. I mean, who can't with that insane offense? But I mean, the defense, man. Come on, Zach Taylor, you gotta get him rolling. Obviously, I know it really comes down to the defensive coordinator as well, but I mean, you got to make the right decisions there, the right players. Clearly, something's not clicking there for the defense. It's the reason why they're 3-6 right now. Chargers, Jaguars. That one's happening in Jacksonville. Chargers are favored by 2.5 points. That might be. I think it's going to be a pretty good game. Obviously, Chargers coming off an impressive win against the Steelers, and they head into Jacksonville. Jacksonville coming off a heartbreaking loss to the Texans. Seahawks, Rams, and oh my goodness. When I said the Bills and the Buccaneers was going to be game of the week, I think this is going to be game of the week. Rams and Seahawks, two incredibly powerful offenses, and two seemingly great defenses. But Rams are favored by 2.5 points. Obviously, that's not surprising to be a very small margin of difference there. That game is going to start off the 4:05 games. Obviously, 49ers, Cardinals follows. That could be a good game, too. Obviously, the 49ers are still playing, like I said time and time again with Mac Jones playing really good. Do I ever see Brock Purdy when he comes back taking over from Mac Jones? I say hell no. No. I mean, realistically, I think Kyle Shanahan will do that just due to the fact that, it might be the safer option. But, I mean, dude, Mac Jones, he still has the team 6-4. And Brock Purdy's been out for weeks. But, yeah, got the game there in Arizona in Glendale. Ravens-Browns divisional game. Ravens, man, Lamar Jackson's back. Browns never been back. I'd say the Ravens, obviously, they're favored by 8.5 points. I'd take them by more. Chiefs-Broncos, that's going to be another great game. We're followed by some really good games in the late slate here. We got Chiefs-Broncos, divisional game, huge game. Chiefs, they win this game. They go to 6-4 all of a sudden. Broncos are coming off, I wouldn't say an impressive win in Las Vegas, but they stay home here to play the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, which are now in kind of, obviously an uprising. They're kind of surging. This is kind of the time of the season where they're playing their best game. It's going to be interesting to see how Sean Payton and that defense responds to Patrick Mahomes in that offense. Then we finish off Sunday, the slate with the Lions and the Eagles, which is going to be a great Sunday night game. Obviously, the Eagles are favored by 2.5 points. That one's going on in Philadelphia. Great game. Obviously, two great quarterbacks, Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts. That's going to be a great game there in Philadelphia. Then we end off on Monday, November 17th, with the game of all time. We got the Cowboys going to Las Vegas to play the Raiders. They're favored by 3.5 points. Cowboys are 3-5-1. Raiders are 2-7. So if you can tell anything from those records, you're going to see how well of a game, or you're going to see basically what type of game we're going to have here. Bye week teams are the Colts, well deserved after playing great all season and a tough win in Berlin. The Saints, obviously, they are on bye. Then they go in, I believe they stay home to play Atlanta the week after. So there you have it. That is week number 11 of the NFL. Obviously, I didn't even mention it. Brian Daboll is out as coach in New York. I know I mentioned it a little bit in yesterday's show. And basically, I'd say my opinion on all this is that I don't think that's a good decision by the Giants. I really want to see what their reasoning is for that. But I think Brian Daboll has been a great coach. I just think that, you've seen the flashes of success that the Giants have had with their new rookies. It's just they need the personnel. And I think Brian Daboll, no matter where he goes after this job in New York, I'd say he's going to make a team pretty good. Does he have enough to make a team a dynasty or an elite? Probably not. But But, I mean, Brian DeBoer getting out in New York, I mean, really, realistically, I mean, what other option do you have if you're the GM or the owner there? I mean, realistically, I mean, they lost last week due to the fact that, Russell Wilson had to come in, unfortunately. As much as I want to say it, I love Russell Wilson as a quarterback, but dude is completely washed. Obviously, your starting quarterback gets injured, and that's not good. A new rookie quarterback gets injured. But they were in well control of that game against the Bears until that happened. That was kind of like the momentum-changing moment. But despite that, don't know what's going on in New York. They just can't seem to get some footing here. And I think Brian DeBoer is going to be another one of those players, or another one of that personnel / players that's going to leave New York and be great. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, and I think Brian DeBoer is going to be part of that tandem. Whether he goes to college football, whether he stays in the NFL, I'd say realistically, dude, I'd say he can be an offensive guru. It's just the defense that there was obviously a struggle in managing, but you give him the right offensive scheme. Personally, I'd take him over Zach Robinson. I know that it would probably be a little more difficult to kind of transition from a coaching standpoint to a offensive coordinator, just one side of the ball. But you got less to. Obviously, I don't know anything about coaching, so I'm not gonna go too much into it. But despite that, that's what we're looking at: the Week 10 review, Week 11 preview. And we're getting down the wire. Teams are going to start getting actually eliminated. Other than just saying, oh, they're 1-8, they're 2-7, they're just eliminated. But realistically, these 2-7, 1-8 teams, they still technically have somewhat of a chance. So when a team like the Titans, they lose their 9th game, that's when you pretty much, or the Giants, they lose their 9th game. And they will lose their 9th game. Packers will beat the Giants, and if they somehow beat the Packers, I don't know. But this is where teams are really going to get eliminated, is Week 11. You can't really come back from 9 losses. Falcons aren't there yet, but they will be there, trust me, when they lose 3 straight games to the Saints, or to the Panthers, Saints, and Jets. But despite that, great week of college football going all around. Obviously, basketball is in full swing too for college and for the NBA. NBA's been going on for a little bit now, or a few weeks. I want to say close to a month. But despite that, lots of great sports going on this weekend. I know USF plays Navy. I covered that in yesterday's show, Atlanta. Not going to talk too much about them. We got all the college football narratives, NBA, all this, blah, blah, blah. Shy and OKC, still the best team in the league. Clearly going to look like the Kansas City Chiefs of the NBA. Not the Glazers, Mahomes, or anything. But despite that, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, great rest of their week. Chase your dreams. Don't let anybody tell you what to do, because they do not know you. And at the end of the day, it's just you. So everyone have a great week, great day. God bless. I will catch you guys probably tomorrow or Thursday with a little YouTube review of the college football rankings that dropped tonight. So I'll see y'all then, I guess. But if not, I'll catch you guys next Monday here on Mic'd Up with Michael Schneider.